What's up, guys? Sensei Tudum here with another video for you. That's right. Don't change your dial. Sensei Tudum on the Trade Devils YouTube. Sam's on vacation. I'm filling in for the Bitcoin Friday this week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it. Some of you might remember me from back in the day before I started. I had my own YouTube, made my own YouTube. I would post videos on here. You would see them. If you don't know that, it's just search my name, Sensei Tudum, and you'll find me there. Or check me out on Twitter at Sensei Tudum. And I've got some words on this chart. We're going to dive right into the Bitcoin price action. Don't worry, Sam will be back. Please enjoy this week. And if you like what you see, check me out on Twitter at Sensei Tudum. Check out my YouTube channel, and you can see more of me. And of course, come sign up to the Discord where you can talk to me live and in person. Anyway, so we have some words on the chart here. I moved them out of the way, and that was more pertaining to this part down here that I posted to Twitter and was I'm updating there on the current as things unfold. And we'll get into these a little bit more when we zoom in. But I just wanted to show my count that I've had that basically since way back here, it's just had to be updated along the way. So way back here, I had this as a flat the entire time. That felt strongly that we would hold here. Had a pretty good bottom call trade, bottom call trade, and then top call as well. And then there was two options, of course, once the top hit, and if you join the Discord, you can go back and see all the updates where I've been saying this, is that this would either be a zigzag, which it is shown to be, or another 1-2-1-2. But even at the time, I said that, the way that things were working, the probability were that it was more likely to be a zigzag, but you didn't know until certain things triggered, and basically right around here is when you knew it wasn't going to be a zigzag, and that you knew that at least the retest of these lows was coming. So, yeah, we'll fast forward to now. I do think that this correction that we've been tracking, that I've been playing out, is coming to resolution. Of course, it could get more complex, right? And if it were to do so, that doesn't mean that it's going to go, to 2,000, 1,000, 3,000, even 10,000 anytime soon, because if it were to get more complex, we would expect to have a deep retracement this way. And by more complex, I would mean just put in another X and then a Z, which is really, really unexpected, right? That you don't almost ever see those, but it could happen. So should it happen, you would still expect to put in an X all the way back up to near all-time high, and then the Z comes back down to test previous lows, which is what we're doing now. Oh, but we're way below Nah, we're still in the area of the previous low. It's just, you gotta, and I'm not on log scale, as you'll see. Go out to log, same thing. It looks a little different on log, but in, reality, we're still pretty close. And I do think that the count is resolving. It's just a question of when and where, and we'll zoom in. So I do want to touch on one thing briefly real quick. Last week, Sam brought up how, some people that on the staff, and he was talking about me, have this as a 2. And, I've actually had this as a 2 ever since we made the depth of the correction here. You look in log and things can get quite deceptive based on, the size of this move versus the size of this move. But really in real terms, once we have a correction that comes down and breaks the 50% retracement, at that point, what becomes the more likely retracement pattern? It becomes more of a 2 or a B wave, right? As opposed to a 4 wave, which high probability area for that is a 382 to 50. Not only that, we got all the way down to the 618. So there you go. But really, the reason I brought that up is at the end of the day, because some people, apparently that was a revelation to someone that, that's been my idea ever since then. Well documented, discussed it many times, but somehow somebody just like light bulb popped on. They didn't know that was my thought, and that Sam's been showing a 4, which, by the way, it certainly can be a 4, meaning all of this, as opposed to a 2. What is the difference? I don't want to go on a little rant, but I will. People want to think about the way Elliott Wave is and the way that they want to think about it. And I think of it as a straw manning type of, basically they're not thinking about it correctly. They, they try to make the points of, well, this happened, or it's this, so Elliott Wave's bad, or, this person's thoughts are wrong. No, it doesn't, you got to open your mind and free your mind and come, listen to Sam's YouTube videos, come over to my YouTube channel, join the Discord. You're not thinking about it correctly. So if you think that it really matters if this is a 4 or 2, you are wrong. We could zoom out and look at it, because either way, you're not going to reliably project the next move, and it's going to be big as shit. So enough said there. I think it's a 2. Okay, let's zoom in. This is the count that we've been keeping up to date on Twitter, and we'll continue to do so. I've been asked several times in the last day or two, oh, is this count still, good? Do you have anything to update? And the answer is no, right? Because, the reason that that's happening, we'll go down to the 1 hour. Let's get our test. We'll read this text here in a second. At Sensei Tuna, don't forget that one, boys. All right, so essentially, and you can go back on the Twitter and see that we've been tracking this down. So we'll get all the way down to this, which is where the important final potential 5th wave is. And now we finally are, as of today, getting sort of outside of the expectation for what we would want this to do. You would want it to get sort of south pretty quick. Maybe, just maybe, we're actually here. The blue 3's in here, as opposed to the light green 3 there. And basically, the reason I want to say that is because, I started getting questions right here. And but one thing to note when you're looking at, especially when you're expecting a sideways style 4, why? Because 4 is typically sideways, 2 is typically sharp. We observe alternation, and a sideways style correction typically has a swift, sharp first leg that will set the depth of the retracement. In this case, it's not down, it's up, but set the depth of the retracement, and then you remain sideways throughout the correction inside that set depth until the end. Meaning that, and by the way, that a 4 will typically end in the area of the wave 4 of the previous wave 4, most typically around the terminal area of that previous wave 4. Well, we're not in that terminal area yet, so we didn't even get that deep, and that's what people were freaking out about. And it was swift, but basically you'd be looking to do something like this, right? And then come down. But based on the potential for that, oh, we lost that. I deleted that subwave. But based on the potential for, because you didn't know in here if this is a 1 and then 2 out to here, the sideways was another 1, 2. The more obvious was that this was another 1, 2. So that's what's on the chart. Not to mention it's the most cautious as far as expectation of another down. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I don't know why I deleted that other one. Let's make it green. Anyway, now we're getting to the size on this one. While the depth, oops, hold on, unplug my headphones. There we go. While the depth is still plenty good, now we're starting to get sort of outside, not out. We're not there yet, but channeling not necessarily super useful because of how extended this third wave is. Basically, I was checking the base channel because we would violate, we'll call it right look guidelines if we were to get on this side. But, this in this case with this deep 2, with this very extended 3, this channeling guideline is not going to help us so much now. Let's check our temporary channel, the all important. So yeah, we've gotten outside of that, which is a minimum price expectation for a wave 4. And if you get too far outside of it, which is sort of an ambiguous term, then you would expect it to not be a wave 4. We're getting in that area where if we don't turn south now, although even if we do, I would say we're getting into the area where I would probably now update this count. I was asked last night, I would not at that point because, we still had some room here. But at this point, I think it might be best to go ahead and update to there. So that takes out some potential depth, which, hey, that's a nice thing, right? If you like this asset. So let's go ahead and draw same things over again. Now, basically same problem. This is pretty deep for a 2. This is still an extended 3, even if it's, a bigger degree 3, it's still pretty darn extended. Let's go ahead and measure it. I think it's well over 1618. Yeah. It's over 3618. So it's very extended third, which is why we've sort of gotten down to a longer depth than we maybe originally expected on a 5th of this degree because of this very extended third. Okay, let's go ahead and draw the temporary channel. This is just how you guys, this is basic shit, and that's all that I do. I'm a certified Elliott Wave analyst through EWI with a master designation, means I'm qualified to teach it, and I guarantee you, the way I teach this is the way I practice it, and it's super simple. There's a lot to learn here. There's no reason to overcomplicate it, right? Because all we want to do is be able to predict the most probable outcomes as reliably as possible. So I think the best way to do that is to keep it super simple. So even for this temporary channel, we are outside, formed an adequate retracement. Now, should this be the case that this too is here, this is then what we would call a sideways correction. And now that, thinking about this live, that's starting to make, that makes actually a lot of sense on the extension length of this, the very extended third wave, because large extensions typically come after sideways style 2. So that means we would be looking for a sharp 4, which means A, B, maybe we're putting in C here, right? So still don't think that's going to end up being useful. Ooh, hold on. That was useful. Sorry. Bear with me. Not going to do this live for long. I'm going to keep this video relatively short for you guys. If you really want to rock with the old toot, you just got to go on my YouTube or go on my Twitter. We'll pick this actually for the swing. Just a pitchfork, Andrews. You really want it on that price extremes. We'll call this close enough. All right, so maybe this is a C, 4 out to here, 5th down. So I would say, yeah, this is now the new primary expectation. I'll update this on Twitter for those of you that may or may not see it on the old YouTubes. But let's go ahead and read this real quick with my last update. So first and foremost, this can be on any chart that I do, especially that I'm going to share on Twitter, because what I'm sharing you guys is not a chart that you should be able to trade. It's not meant for that. Note, the intent of the labels is not to show precise projection pivots, price pivots, just a reasonable look for price action, i.e., I trade using Elliott Wave, but it's not going to look like this. This is like your map, and then you're going to zoom in, and you're going to make lefts and rights and stops and starts, and that's your trades, right? So that's what it's meant to be. That's always what I care about most is trading. Anyway, the primary expectation is that the 3 of the C of the Y, 3 of the C of the Y, to finish the Bitcoin correction is in. However, in situations like these, the Elliottician can easily find themselves expecting just one more leg like this one, just one more leg, and watching and waiting to act, only to be left with teary eyes. Seen it happen too many times, right? So, you sold the top, you're feeling great about yourself, you got a bunch of cash, I can't wait to buy cheaper Bitcoin, maybe price is going to tick up a little more. I can't wait to watch, I can't wait to buy this cheaper Bitcoin. Oh, it's coming down. Here we go. Oh, it's going to come. I'm going to buy that cheaper Bitcoin. I'm going to buy it. Nope. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. No. You know what I mean? So basically, this is why you don't necessarily, just be careful. Be agile in your thinking. Don't be rigid. Don't get too attached to an idea that this has to go up or has to go down based on this, that, or the other. So one thing to keep very close watch of is the S&P chart, and just uploaded a video about S&P last week and of course yesterday on my YouTube channel. I think that they're very correlated, and that one sort of dictates the price of Bitcoin, and I talk about that there. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. But yeah, I don't want to run long for you guys today. Just want to keep it short and interesting. And yeah, come rock with me on the at Sensei Tutum at Twitter or Sensei Tutum YouTube. And thanks guys. Toot out.